It's all began that when I moved here at the age 34 with my two girls, age 1.5 and 4, with my husband. And I was this Tacoma was my husband's hometown, 3-generation hometown. So I was very, very excited to see all my husband's family and friends. But that excitement just quickly got broken when I entered that place where I would be staying. It was not my husband's family's home or friend's home, anything that I expected. It was called Oakland Motel. And it was very small and dingy and stuffy. So when I just wasn't going to do this. I was very shocked I lost myself there. And my two kids were crying and just calling the Korean nanny's name. And just Rusty the stove was staring at me in the room. And it just, I just lost really my mind that time. Anyhow, it's just, when we lived in Korea, we lived a pretty spacious house, mansion, apartment, on Riverside, and I had 2 housemates. And my husband was pretty, getting pretty high salary at that time in Korea. And I can say I lived like a princess. In fact, I was a real princess. My father was the 18th grandson of a King Sejong, which during the Yi Dynasty, who controlled the country for 500 years. Anyhow, I just couldn't accept my situation first in Tacoma when I arrived. But it's maybe my expectation was way out of reality for the situation. But nevertheless, I was really got depressed and sick. So about whole months, I was really depressed and sick. My body and mind was really going crazy. But anyhow, I quickly learned that America, you live very independently each other, and you sink or swim is up to you. And I learned quickly, and so I just had to myself. I would get scared that what I might do to myself if I get this kind of depressed. So I just made myself to get up, and took my 2 girls to the daycare center, and I was looking for the job and thinking that I maybe get at least some teaching assistant job because I was a high school teacher in Korea. But it wasn't easy, but I had to get out of the house. So I went to the Oakland Elementary School at that time and asked the principal, can I just volunteer here? So he took me. So I did the teaching. I did teaching in math or English as second language to the kid. And 3-4 months later, and the principal said, do you want an assistant job? So yes, so I got the assistant job. And then after a year, I got a teacher's certification from Washington State. And then I started teaching at the Baker Middle School and then at the Grant Elementary. So I taught about 30 years. And then retired 2008. And getting back to my involvement of the KWA for 40 years, when I was just sick for a month, first time when I arrived, I joined the Korean Women's Club. Korean Women's Club at that time was not a actual social service agency. It's more like the social club. We got together once a month for members' house, and then we shared the Korean food and ate and they shared the Korean songs and cried over each other for homesick. It really comforted me at the time because even speaking Korean was comfortable. So that's how I got involved with the KWA first. And then 70s and 80s, early 80s, there were a lot of Korean women who arrived at the Port Louis and McCord Air Force Base who married to American servicemen. And at that time, those Korean women, they were not very well equipped to adjust to this culture. Maybe nowadays Korean, they are so much better off, but those days, so they were a lot of the women were having a difficult time, and so we were helping those newcomers. And one day I went to Port Louis, and the one lady was with a little child, had a big bruised eye in the right side, and I was supposed to interpret, but I couldn't do it. I was so angry and mad. So I just took her home to my home, and you can stay here and don't go back to beating husband. But of course the women had to go back because the child. And anyhow, so that's how I got involved. And then in 79, KWA, I really thought I should be helping. And thanking my husband. My husband also said, you should help all those women that are having difficulties. And so 79, KWA registered as a 501(c) as a nonprofit organization, and we moved into the Lakewood Community Center, and we started the real full social service, and then when we started the drive license class and resume writing and ESL class, a Korean even library, and also Saturday Korean language school. We did anything we need for newcomers that we thought we would be help. That was about 9 years we did. Then 88, we were running out of a little bit energy and resources too, because most resource where we were doing was collected from Korean community, mostly Korean businessmen, and then Korean business were also getting tired of it, and they didn't want to see our faces. If we go into the store, these owners, they're hiding away from the back of the store. Then we know that's not the way we should do. So we turned our eyes into another direction. Some women are not just American citizens. We should ask some help from government, So we looked into the county and city and whatever. So I think 88, we got the first contract with Pierce County, the mill site, the senior Korean mill site program, and then we had so many people came, 200, easy to see at the mill site, and then there's some Filipinos and Samoans and Vietnamese. So after that, we noticed that a lot of seniors was this week they were at the mill site, next week we don't see them. We asked what happened, passing. Those some of them passed away, and we were noticed that a lot of seniors having also a very big health problems. So that's when we started applied for the in-home care service. So we got the contract the next year, in-home care service, and we started the Pierce County, and the next year, the couple months later, we started another county in Kitsap County, Thurston County. So now we have 11 counties for the in-home care service. Thank you. We are doing over 1 million hours of a caregiving service, and that was very, we felt that pretty excited about. And then next project, one project that we were it was difficult project, but it was very successful project for KWA was 1995, we applied the 2.2 million for 25 low-income senior housing the grant. And a lot of my board at that time was very skeptical, but I said, there's a lot of need. Why don't we just try it? And doesn't work, we're not going to lose much other than a little headache of this applying for all this paperwork. So we did it, and of course we lobbied it too. We went to the Seattle, Maine head office, and I said, hey, we women are writing this. And if anything, we can get the more point and tell us, we will submit again, do papers. So with couples, 2-3 times the submittal, believe it or not, we got 2.2 million. So we were, we were so, happy and ecstatic about it. And, but before too long, we couldn't be happy too long because the neighborhood heard about it. In 96 on B Street, we have our main office. Neighborhood heard about it, and about a dozen of men and women that neighborhood came, said, you cannot build the low-income housing right in this neighborhood. And you have to build some other place. And otherwise, it will be on my dead body. That's one woman told us. So, what can we do? So we went to the city to see city manager Ray Capuzzi at that time, and I told Ray, we got 2.2 million federal grant. If you do not help us, don't build a low-income apartment out there, the city gonna lose 2.2 million. What are you gonna do about it? So Ray helped to the public hearing 2 times, 3 times, whatever, and finally we negotiated, and that particularly that 80 at B Street on the 96, there was no storm drainage, so the city said it's very easily flooded, and so we told the neighborhood, we will put a storm drainage here on our own expense. So they kind of got a little softer, and so So then we just built it. Took 3 years. That project was really one project. Actually, was very difficult to finish it, whatever, but it gave us big confidence on us. So after that first project of building low-income senior housing, and after that we did the 2 more, because when we first renting out the first apartment, we had only 25-unit apartment, but there was over 200 people came to get in. They were fighting to get in. So we did another two project when they were building Hope 6, that all 3,000 whatever that homes at the Shalashan, Portland Avenue. When they were doing that, the city came. We have a property here. Will you apply another grant for the HUD to build the low income here? So we said, of course, we have this many people waiting. So we did another one at the Shalashan 51 unit, we call International Place. And then we did, a couple years later, we did another 62 at the Federal Way. It was the best built low-income senior home because we got the national award for that because it was very well built and very environmentally friendly building. So that, and then after that, we built domestic violence shelter 19 unit. Thank you, Judy. And thank you, Sulja. Yeah. So and then we had also and then we bought this Olympus Hotel on Pacific Avenue. Because the domestic violence shelter, you can't stay too long. And then, so these victims, they have to be self-sufficient. Otherwise, it's a kind of vicious circle. Go back and then come out. And so we were thinking maybe we will help this domestic violence victim to be stand so that they don't have to go that kind of circle. So we bought that Olympus Hotel, 49 unit. My husband said when that building was built, it was most fanciest hotel. But it's 100 years old now. It's run down. There's so much to do. But we were very happy to get that. So anyhow, it's just it's going to be forever if I'm going to tell the 40 years KWA story. But I will just stop here. Someone asked me, why are you doing this? How come you 40 years you're involved here? In a way, it's not maybe healthy. Sometimes I feel too, but but I am going to just pass over to all the young second generation here. We changed the bylaw now, but it's just I really enjoying the job. Actually, my volunteer work and involvement because it gives you a meaning of life and enjoyment. When you hear my cancer navigation program, patients say, well, KWA saved my life doing by early detection of my breast cancer. And this stroke patient of my caregiver program says, I wouldn't still alive. It existed if, there was no caregiver for me. Because my, this condition, and the 80, 90 years old people, seniors, when they finish their senior citizens class and got the citizenship, you should see their faces. It's just so happy to get U.S. citizenship, and thanking. So these things made me kept going. For 40 years. And somehow or another, I also it's just when I see the people are not treated equally or no injustice, it make me angry actually. So when I'm angry, I thought I got to do something about it to make myself happy. So I just get involved, to make a little difference, whatever I can. And so we are all, I think, is connected each other, one way or another. If you have a lot of unhappy, miserable people in the community is not going to be safe and healthy, and that will definitely impact you somehow or another. So why not get involved a little bit and do a little bit of share each other and make a better community to live. Thank you.